Hello and welcome once again to Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers Creative Showcase. Once again, my name is Mark Miller, and today we have a very young author here and also excellent illustrator by the name of Ashley Carman, who not only wrote a good book, but has created a very unique character. You have a good, how you doing there,
hi.
Ashley? I always shake hands, old school. So, everybody can tell you're not very old, okay? When did you first start getting the writing bug?
I started writing in third grade. I had an amazing third grade teacher who would give us writing assignments every morning. And that's when I first really learned that, oh, hey, this writing thing, I like it. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And then when did you start with the illustrations?
The illustrations, I don't really have a set start point for drawing. I've just been drawing for as long as I remember.
Okay. So, what all of a sudden, you have a very unique character here, Maggie Paw.
Magic Paw.
Maggie Paw. Now I'm middle-aged to the name of the book already. And when did you first come up with the idea of that little creature?
Of Coco?
Yeah.
I don't really know where I get my characters. They kind of just come to life in my mind, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does.
Yeah. The hardest part for me, idea-wise, is coming up with the idea for the story. But once I've got the story idea, the characters just come to me.
Okay.
I have no idea how, but yeah.
And when you weren't around, your mother was giving me some little stories. And she said that you actually did a PowerPoint to your parents as to how what you wanted to do in reference to publishing a book. So explain that.
Yeah. In 6th grade, I was really working on Magic Paw, like, oh, this is gonna go somewhere. So I had to get my parents on my side. So that's why I was like, okay, I've got to pitch this idea to them. How am I gonna do that? I know, PowerPoint. So I made a PowerPoint.
I feel so old.
Yeah, well, I'm just a nerd. That's what
That's
happens.
okay. No, so you did the PowerPoint, and then what was your parents' initial reaction after? I mean, did their mouths drop open? Their daughter's doing this PowerPoint, or what was their initial reaction?
I don't exactly remember, but I think they liked it.
Okay, a little bit of surprise that you would go to all this effort at that young age and everything.
Yeah.
So, we're going to show on the screens some of your workups on your character as you started thinking about and creating in your mind what the character looked like.
Yes.
And there's 3 different photos.
The drawings I brought are not the main character. Rather, they're the minions of the enemy. I brought that character because it's the one that showed the most growth and progression, and I just really wanted to emphasize that.
Well, then let's talk about the actual plot of your book then. And what are you have the minions of I guess, the evil person, and you have your main protagonist. So real quick, what's the basic plot and character growth and stuff in the book?
So Coco is an ordinary house cat. She lives with her humans. And one day her humans are packing up and moving, and then they get on a ship and they're going to some far off country. Coco's all terrified about this naturally. She doesn't understand what's going on. So she's set free from her cage just so she can take a deep breath of fresh air. And then she gets terrified, and so she accidentally runs off the ship, and she's drowning and all terrified and then she can breathe, but she's underwater. She has made it to the magical town of Marina. It's an underwater village created by magic. She's fallen into a world of magic. And it's populated by, believe it or not, merkins, cats with the tails of fishes. They're an interesting race with an amazing culture. They're all a little unstable, and I love them.
How are they unstable?
Well, a side character, the main character's name is Coco. Her merkitten friend, her name is Sandy. She's a hyperactive airhead, and I love her. She's not the brightest, but she just has the best bubbly personality. And
Okay.
yeah.
And when you look at the cover, of course, you have, down here, you have the Magical Kingdom.
Marina, yes.
Yes, and that is,
That's Coco.
that's Coco.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you also have a little necklace of the character.
Yes.
And
It's Coco.
and you made that or had that made or how?
No.
Oh.
Nope. I just found them on Amazon.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, so you found something that fit right in then.
Yes, it was
Okay.
just so perfect. So I was selling the books at Barbecue to You, and my mom
Right.
was like, "We need something to go along with this. Look what I found."
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Yes, and that's something that we've got quite a few authors that go there. Barbecue to You, it's a restaurant up in Gig Harbor who has what I call the Book Nook, and it's a nice little area where Gary Parker, the owner of the business, allows authors to come in there and present their books, and also sometimes their works of art, their paintings, things like that, which is cool. And so
Yes.
you're one of the regulars now up there. Actually, here is. And do you have an idea for a second book?
Yes, I'm working on it now. I already finished the first draft, and now I'm doing editing.
Okay.
So much editing. I'm enjoying it though. It's good editing.
How do you edit your books?
I go through it myself.
Yeah.
And then there's these things called alpha and beta readers.
Right.
The alpha readers are the people on the front line who just go through and read through the messy rough draft.
Yeah.
Those people are brave.
Okay.
Rough drafts are no joke.
Okay.
Yeah, and then once the rough draft is presentable enough, I have a team of beta readers, just a bunch of friends. I'm like, hey, read my book. Okay. Then they go through and they leave comments of what they think, and I go through those comments and edit it. And for Magic Paw, we didn't have a professional content editor. We had
Right.
a professional grammar editor, but not a content one. For
Okay.
Magic Claw, I'm thinking a content one might be best because
Yeah,
I just, yeah.
Based on my experience, yeah. It's nice to have a good content editor, and of course, you need a content editor that enjoys your genre,
Yes.
which is, young, I would call it young adult fantasy. Would that
Yeah.
kind of fit in there?
Yeah.
Because if you get a content editor who doesn't enjoy the genre, you're not going to get a very good feedback and
Yes.
things. So do you use any type of computerized editing program like Grammarly or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
You just, so you write it and you go straight to the alpha and then the beta readers.
Yep.
Have you been able to keep your own voice? In other words, you haven't had too many people try to get you to change your voice more towards what they want.
I've been able to keep my voice because normally it's just like, okay, this sentence feels weird, or okay, this concept is off, or okay, why
Yeah.
would a character do such a thing?
Right.
That doesn't make sense for the character. So then I just go in and rewrite it as the comments allow.
Right. But at the
Yeah.
same time, you push back and go, I'm sorry, but the character would do that because this is how I created the character.
Sometimes there's a logical explanation to explain away the comment, and then I always make sure to put that explanation in the book so that there's not plot holes. I do not like plot holes.
Plot holes. Okay. We have another author, a member of KLAW, and he actually wrote a book about Through the Plot Hole, which is quite a great fantasy book.
That sounds interesting. I'll
I
have
know
to read it.
I'll have to get in contact with him. But it's a very unique book. But anyways,
That's so cool.
so you are probably like a lot of authors, myself included, that all of a sudden you're writing away, typing away, and then this character starts beating you in the side of the head, and you don't know where that character came from, but it won't let you go. Does that also happen with you?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Normally I think of like a concept of a character.
Right.
And then the personality comes along. Characters are hard to explain.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know why.
Well, my theory is because they come from another little alternate string theory universe, and like you said, you'll think about them, and all of a sudden they're there, and then they won't leave you alone because they have their own life.
Exactly.
And they want you to write about their life.
Exactly.
Okay. So I take it your follow-up book's going to have the same basic characters in it.
Yes, but it will be
Okay.
in a different perspective.
Okay. What
Yeah.
kind of perspective then?
The first book is in Coco's perspective as
Right.
she's the main character. The second
Okay.
book will be in Apollo's perspective. He's another one of the main characters. So in book 1, he's the side character. Book 2, he will be the main character, and Coco will be a side character.
Okay, and so he's one of the aquatic cat creatures.
No.
No. Okay.
No. Okay. Sandy's a merkit and Apollo's a dragon.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
have a dragon in there.
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to go
So-
off on a tangent.
I love world building.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So in this world, the name is Kionica, which is ancient Marinen for awesome empire.
Oh, okay.
It's the magic realm. It's populated by 3 different kinds of dragons: red scales, blue scales, green scales.
Okay.
2 different types of cats: merkittens, the fish cats,
Yeah.
and the second type will be explained more in book 2.
oh,
No spoilers.
there we go.
And normal cats can find their way into this world.
Mm-hmm.
See, you know the legend that cats always land on their feet, right? Well, say a cat falls and can't land on their feet. According to the legend, that would not be possible. Therefore, they vanish from the human world and reappear in the magic world. Coco fell from the boat. She was underwater. She could not land on her feet. Therefore, she was transported to the magic world.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
that's
that-
how
that-
Tiger and Kit got there too.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, continue.
No, go ahead. It's fascinating, like you said, the world building, and you have to try to make it, even though it's magic, you have to have a little bit of a basis of logic so you can explain how it happened.
Exactly.
Because if it's too magical, that may turn off the writer,
I find that
reader.
if fantasy books relate to human world in any way, it has to make sense. And this is where the plot holes things comes in again. It just has to be logical, and
Okay.
that's why I had to make the magic world logical to the human world. Make sure there's a reasonable explanation for that.
Okay, and you do have I guess you call some villains in the book,
Yes.
and who are they?
This wouldn't technically be a spoiler because it's revealed in chapter 1, but
Okay.
Tiger, he is a cat I mentioned earlier.
Right.
He is the villain, and he populates a castle called Blackpaw Castle. It's a magnificent castle. I love
Okay.
it. Yeah, and he wants to take over the world.
Oh,
And
like every cat does.
special.
Oh, okay.
He's special, and it's for revenge. It will be explored more later.
Okay.
I don't entirely know when. We'll
Okay.
figure that out.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Great.
Yeah. But he's a villain, and he commands the army of Kamias, which I mentioned earlier. Those are dragon wolf hybrids. They're
Oh.
extremely dangerous.
Oh, okay.
Extremely dangerous. Yeah. And that's what the illustration's about.
So, are you self-published or do you have a publisher?
Self-published.
You're self-published right now. Are you
Yes.
have you contacted any possible publishers?
No, but I've definitely been considering republishing it as traditional publishing because that might help with advertising,
Right.
because publishing companies would probably be better at getting it out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you do. There is, from my understanding, there's been an increase in interest in young adult books, and of course fantasy. Thanks to adult fantasy, Game of Thrones, and all those other things. So there's more. There's always been quite a bit of interest in fantasy for younger people and everything, but I think there's been an increase, especially in YA fantasy. We've got some other fantasy authors in the KLAW group, and one of them in particular has been for several years self-publishing a lot of young adult fantasy. So it's definitely a category there that could easily be expanded on. Have you thought of any other, I guess, fantastical worlds that you might consider?
Well, the Magi Paw has been my main project for a while, but
Right.
recently I've started another side project. It's a collab I'm doing with a friend.
Oh, okay.
I do the writing, and she's really good at art, like really good.
And you're not. I see. Okay.
Oh no, I didn't do the cover, but I did do the inside illustrations.
Oh, okay. Well,
So-
we're going to have to you want to open it up to one of them real quick?
Oh, yes, I will find that. But
Let's see.
anyways, we're trying to turn
This is
it
going to
into a
irritate
graphic
the camera
novel.
people here, but we're going to do it anyway.
Sorry, camera people. This is the main character, Coco.
Okay, so that's
Hopefully.
yours. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. I also love cartography and map making.
Oh.
So I made a map of Marina.
Here we go. Oh, so hopefully maybe they can try to get a little bit of a zoom in on that.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
yeah.
that is a fantastic, nice, complicated little map.
Thank you.
You know. And that's, I guess, something that if you're going to create a world, sometimes it's hard just to explain it in words, so you need to actually have an illustration.
Exactly. And this probably isn't very helpful, but I love doing it in made-up languages.
Oh, okay.
So it's harder for readers to find their way around, but it does increase. I don't know how to explain this exactly, but like the vibes of another world, just feeling that you're in that world. So, and it's fun to make up languages.
Oh, exactly. I have a War and Peace of Alien Squid Invasion series. It's a huge series, and I had to create a, like you said, a culture for a completely alien race. And so that's part of the fun is, okay, how would they be like us and how would they be different? And in some ways, how would they be better than human beings?
Yeah.
Things like that. So if you're looking at your characters, how are they better than us two-legged hominids running around?
Well, they aren't really. They're cats and dragons, but I've kind of personified them into human-like personality traits. Like if you searched hard enough, there's, what, 8 billion people out there? Is that right?
Yeah,
I think so. There's got to be someone with a personality like them.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Even though they're animals, they still act like humans, and the explanation for that, fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. There was I wish I could remember who it was. It might have been George R.R. Martin, but years ago there was a science fiction writer, and he was complaining that he'd write a science fiction book, and then some guy from university would write in and said, "Oh, you've just violated the 5th law of thermodynamics. How dare you? You claim you're a scientist, and this is science fiction." So he got to the point where he said, "I'm just going to start writing fantasy," and people would write in a complaint. Well, it doesn't seem realistic, and he says, "Oh yeah, it's magic," you know, and that was his catch-all phrase, you know, to get people just to leave him alone, you know. So
that's such a great explanation.
Exactly, it's magic, you know, and everything. But you actually just explained though that you have a basis of logic for your magic.
Yeah.
So it's not too. It is more understandable than it would be, you know, like if you just arbitrarily threw something in there.
Yeah, like magic is a good explanation for things you can't explain, but I feel like there also needs to be a bit of logic mixed in there.
Some rules.
Exactly.
There's got to be some magic rules. You just can't, otherwise the universe would fall apart because there would be nothing holding it together.
I mean, some things can be vague and like reader can guess and figure out what it is.
Yeah.
It's nice to explain some things.
There we go. And where have you been presenting your books at, other than Barbecue to You, of course?
Amazon, Goodreads, and I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. And how about, since we were talking a little bit about marketing and stuff, and you're looking at possibly a traditional publisher, you have any other plans along those lines?
Nope. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'll figure it out.
Actually, it sounds like you know a lot of what you're doing. I mean, you did a PowerPoint. I mean, you know, most of us, we just kind of sit there and we just kind of, you know, mess around, and eventually we try to get something on paper, and then off we go, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and everything. But you actually had a PowerPoint and everything else, so you are definitely organized, which is good. So, anything you would like to talk to the audience about becoming a writer? Anything, you know, your experiences or anything like that?
I will talk about being a young writer a bit because it's unique. Being a young writer can be super hard, sometimes it's because people don't take you seriously, because there are a lot of young writers out there who don't take it seriously, and therefore people don't take them seriously. But if you could show people that you're serious about it, if you could show people that you mean to do it, like the PowerPoint,
Yeah, exactly.
then yeah, just young writers out there, keep going. Woohoo!
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being here today, and we'll probably have to have you back when you have your second book out there. and
Yes, I'm
everything.
looking forward to it.
Especially if you do find a traditional publisher, because I like to talk to people. Part of KLAW is we try to help people become published and market and stuff like that. So we like to share good stories, and we like to share bad stories, so that people don't make the same mistakes some of us made. So that they're more successful. That's what we're all about, is to try to help. So I'm really glad you came here today, and we're going to have you back again once you come up with a second book.
Thank you.
Anyways, now I get to do the closing like I always do.
Yeah.
And this ends another episode of Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers. And of course, we've had a very nice young creative here, Ashley Carman, with us today. KLAW exists to help all the writers, filmmakers, and all types of creatives out there. We're a group. We don't charge dues. We meet twice a month at Spiro's Pizza on the first and third Wednesdays in Kitsap and Bremerton. We usually officially start the meeting around 7 o'clock in the evening, and we specialize more in trying to help people get their books finished and published and marketed. We're not so much a critique group as we are, I guess you'd call it, a help group. We also try to find venues for the authors. We are going to have another booth at the Kitsap Fair and Stampede, and we'll also have booths at the Bremerton Blackberry Festival put on by the Bremerton Rotary. Of course, all of this would not be possible without Bremerton Kitsap Access Television. The staff here has helped us since about 2017 put these shows on, and now we've got a whole bunch of them sitting up on YouTube. So if you look under Kitsap Literary Arts and Writers KLAW, you'll find a whole series of interviews and other films that go back several years. We definitely want to reach out there to the audience, and anybody out there who's interested in writing, filmmaking, painting, whatever, contact us. We'll probably find somebody else who's actually gone through that experience that might be able to give you some advice. Please have a very interesting and good day, and another productive year. And this will be Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers and Mark Miller signing off. Oh, one last thing. I almost forgot. You can watch these shows on Wave Cable Astound Channel 3 and Comcast Channel 12 at 6 p.m. every Saturday. You'll see either this show or you'll see one of the other ones that we produced. Once again, thanks to Bremerton Kitsap Access Television. Also, thanks to my publisher, Blue Forge Press, which also has a film division which helps do the editing for these shows. So have a very pleasant day and a very productive tomorrow. Thank you.